Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist,
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
and we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have another perspective on Bob. And just so everybody's clear, Bob is not the name necessarily, it's a more of a descriptor or designation to a creature that's called the brutal, obscene beast, but
Also known as Bob.
also known as Bob. Bab.
Oh, Bob.
Last week we did Bob, and the first story that kind of came out of the X thread of 4chan and was posted onto the creepypasta.wiki site. It was supposedly done by somebody named Anthony Rose, and it was at least posted on the creepypasta.wiki site from the X thread by the Forbidden Soul. So they also posted this other story that was up there on the X threads, called Another Perspective of Bob. So I think this one's also possibly written by Anthony Rose. We're not sure, guys. It's kind of up in the air. It's kind of up to conjecture. If anybody would like to confirm with us, please leave a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted.
Just go into the entire outro and
right. Yeah, and Finn. But yeah, so we're going to go into the rundown for Another Perspective on Bob and see if this gives any more clarity on the creature. So our narrator, on his 18th birthday, decides to go ghost hunting at his uncle's cheaply owned cemetery at night alone. While walking there along the neighboring nature trail, he sees a figure up ahead and calls out to him. However, as he approaches closer, he sees the figure is naked, hairless, and with no arms, and just like wheezing in the middle of the trail. So he rightly nopes right out, and when he gets home, he locks all the doors and windows. His mom doesn't believe him, however, of what he saw, so he's not able to like arm himself with any kind of like Rambo knife. Nair, some nights later, hears his dog, Piggy, outside barking when she should be taking a poop. Going to investigate the reason for the barking, he sees that that the creature is standing near Piggy out in the field where Piggy poops. And it begins peeing this horrid, smelly, viscous green fluid on the dog. Nair runs it off with a knife. And then takes Piggy to get cleaned off with like a hose and like dog shampoo and such. Piggy needs to go into the vet the next few days because she develops pneumonia, which is strange because it's in the middle of the summer. But after a pricey vet bill, she recovers and is allowed to go home. As they are arriving home, Nair sees the creature in his driveway and proceeds to try and run it over. But the creature hops up over the car and flees into the woods. Afraid that the creature will get him in his own home, he's asking online if anyone knows anything about this thing. And Finn. On to everyone's, someone's favorite segment for reasons.
I like how we keep changing the intro to make it extra confusing.
Whatever. Everyone tolerates that grammar inquisitions. So, I'm going to start with this one here. I figured there must be some kind of ghost pissed off about having such a shitty resting place who roams around the cemetery at night, and I guess I was thinking I could point him out to where my uncle lives, starting a haunting just for the shits and giggles. Jesus, that's run on. So I decided to rewrite it, or at least add in some periods and punctuation. So the way I would have done it, it was this. I figured there must be some kind of ghost pissed off about having such a shitty resting place, comma, just roaming around the cemetery at night, period. I was thinking I could point him out to my uncle, to where my uncle lives, comma, so they could haunt him, period. You know, comma, for shits and giggles.
Yes, 100%.
Cool.
We get a gold star.
Yay! Confetti, because we're an audio podcast format. Anyway, moving on. I was still pretty shaken up. This freak of nature had to know where I lived because I don't run that fast. So this is a nitpick, and honestly, I could take it or leave it. But I'm going to go into this anyways. I feel like maybe it should have been, so the creature knows where I live. Like creature had to know where I lived because I didn't run that fast. Because it sounded when I read it, it was like that should have been like past tense. Like
However,
yeah. Okay, continue. Yeah.
oh no, you go ahead.
I
I'm the
was
one
gonna say-
interrupting you.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking like I say that like it could be I didn't run that fast, but I also don't think I don't run that fast is necessarily wrong.
It's not wrong because.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay, keep going.
No. Like
I
yeah.
keep thinking you're done.
Sorry. Yeah, I know it's the lag. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Continue,
yeah.
though. Like yeah, you explain it because I don't actually have the explanation for why.
Oh, okay. Because if he, in the moment of writing all this, if he went out and went for a run, he would still not be running fast. So it's not like I used to run fast. I used to not run fast, but now I do. No, like he still doesn't run fast.
Yeah. So it's still kind of
Because-
it's just a thing that he has, or that it's just like his trait
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Because if it was I didn't run fast, that sounds like I didn't back then, but I do now. But
True.
don't means now and forever I don't run fast.
Always and forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
currently in past.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, I feel like it should be didn't, but I could also see it just staying as don't. But I feel like it should be brought up just because it is kind of a grammar thing.
Yes. Sure.
And then onto my next one here. Piggy ran outside, and a minute or so later, I heard her barking. I'm a little confused because she normally never barks. So I figured there must be a stray cat out around or something. So I get up to see the situation. I feel like this is like this one might be a present tense, past tense issue where it was like, I was a little confused, not I'm a little confused, because like suddenly he's in the moment when he is retelling this story.
Yeah, because with his current knowledge in the future, he's not confused anymore.
Yeah, so
He
I
understands why.
was a little confused.
Yes.
Yeah. Like it was like kind of one of those things where like it's a common slip up, because especially when you're doing like past and present tense and stuff, and especially with tense problems, where like
Yeah.
you're suddenly like you're telling a story that happened in the past, but then suddenly you like start kind of dipping into like almost like a slang or like a dialect issue where like it's like, so I'm confused at this point, and but like he forgot the this point.
Mm.
Kind of in the story. Yeah. So on to my next one here. We have this staring contest for what seems like hours, but I'm sure was only a few minutes. I believe you're missing a word here. I think it should be, but I'm sure it was only a few minutes. Just missing that it.
Really?
Yeah, because it, at least the
I didn't
version I
notice that
read
one.
had that. So
That might be one of those situations.
yeah, I mean, I did copy pasta this like 2 days ago.
But I'm
So-
sure it was only a few minutes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
But I'm sure
I'll
was
nitpick that one.
yeah. You're right. It is like it kind of it's kind of like a dialect thing. Like
Yeah.
but I'm sure was only It's one of those things where like we tend when we're talking we tend to like remove a word
Yes.
that grammatically should be there, but like it also could make sense in dialogue.
Yep.
But this
I
is
love the English language. It's the worst.
yeah. Anyway, so on to the last one I have. I floored my car right at him, and I saw his eyes widen to a full fucking circle. So far, I'm pretty sure this creature has been described as having two eyes, so it should be just two full fucking circles, like plural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's saying his eyes widen to a circle. Unless they widened and combined into
and
a
became a
Cyclops
mono,
situation.
like a Cyclops, which would be really fucking cool and creepy.
Yes.
Just get like the
Well, I'm
Sonic.
sure that's not what happened.
Yeah, it just has like fucking Sonic eye, like the mono eye.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh god. But anyway, that's the grammar inquisition I cared to inquest on. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil. I hand you the torch and pitchfork.
Alright. So, first one I have is a now, which basically the end of the one paragraph ends in now, and then the beginning of the next paragraph begins with now.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I run into that a lot myself. I hate it when I write it down and notice it myself and have to rewrite everything because it bugs me. So I understand. How would you rewrite it?
Well, you just don't need one of the nows.
Okay.
Because, I got the quote here.
Okay.
It was pretty fucking dark because there was a new moon, and I figured if I was gonna see anything cool, it was now. Now, I wasn't just walking around in the forest herpaderping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he's telling this. It's almost like we're getting like a transcript of a telling of the story, because that's how somebody would talk. But it's not how somebody would write down a story or an account.
Could also
but
replace the first now with tonight.
Yeah.
There's a new moon. I figured if I was going to see anything cool, it was tonight.
Yeah. That would
Or it was going to be tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, a change is necessary. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, the next one I have is another issue of the plural changing with the I situation. Well, my uncle owns the plot of land the cemetery is built on. And being a cheap bastard he is, most bodies buried there end up thrown in there by itself.
Oh, okay.
So, think about most bodies by itself.
By themselves.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't act. This is really more. I don't know if this is grammar or just like a story thing. It's just like does he mention like that, like they're being tossed into the grave at all, or is it just like into the plot of the cemetery? It's just like a corpse pile.
I'm assuming they dig a hole, throw it in, cover him up.
Yeah.
Alright, and then I have a relatively short conjunction junction. It's extended.
Okay. And now a conjunction junction with a side helping of an it story. Take it away, Mikey.
So, a week ago, it was my birthday. Just turned 18, and I decided I wanted to fuck around and look for ghosts. I would have hung out with friends, but I wasn't in the mood to third wheel. It was pretty fucking dark because there was a new moon, and I figured if I was gonna see anything cool, it was now. It's also a spot that practices a green burial, where they put the body in a biodegradable casket and send it on its way in the dirt. It probably doesn't work that way, but I wasn't expecting to find something anyway. It had this horrid acidic smell, similar to that of sulfur, but I shook it from my memory pretty quick to tend for my dog.
Wow, that was
Alrighty then.
very short and concise.
It kind of sounded like it swapped the what he was talking to, referring to the casket. Like he went to the graveyard and he talks about how they have the biodegradable caskets, and he went there and like dug one up, and it had like a putrid smell and everything like that.
And then suddenly his dog was with him, so he had to get him out of there.
Of course.
Which, I mean, yeah, if you're going like ghost hunting, yeah, or like going on like any kind of night walk, yeah, take your dog.
Mm-hmm. And that's the end of my grammar position.
All right, well, I guess we'll move on to the highlighted grammar of the gamer in yellow.
Basically, I noped the fuck out of there. When I read that, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be apostrophe D on noped, or just NOPED, all the same uppercase.
For this instance, I like he's referencing. It's kind of an internet meme of like noping out. So I feel like it probably is fine the way it is.
No,
it is
keeping it down compared to it just being noped all uppercase.
Yeah, because the whole like it wouldn't be like, so it would be like when you nope out, it's like NOPE all in caps. But because like, so you wouldn't have the E at the end like lowercase to get your point across of like what you're trying to reference.
No, there's no extra E. It would just be NOPED, all the same case.
Oh, okay, yeah, I could see that going a little as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was maybe meant to be apostrophe D, but the more I thought about it, the way that I think apostrophe D is usually used is when you're putting that at the end of a word that already ends in D.
Well, because the reason why like you'd is you would is short for you would. So
Yeah,
like
or that.
to nope the way it is in this, it'd be like I nope would.
I would nope.
Yeah, I would nope out. Yeah.
It's probably just meant to be all same case, I guess.
Yeah, my guess
Yeah.
is that he like again like the grammar the writing in this is pretty casual, like almost like dialogue-esque. So like he probably just like did that as in like because that's what he figured that was how the slang was for it.
Almost like an 18-year-old typed this up.
Weird.
In character. That's good.
Yeah. Except for the grammar, which is bad.
Everything else is good.
Because poor
It's
little
bad grammar.
Cool.
But it's bad grammar.
Yeah.
That is accurate in this case because it's written by someone who's not necessarily well versed in writing.
Just explosion just happens as soon as we start talking. Just like as we just implode on ourselves for our grammar position.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And my next and only other one, his pee was not yellow. Damn it. But okay, his pee was not yellow. Sorry. All right, his pee was not yellow, but a disgusting pea green. I coated my dog's fur. It was viscous like snot. So, my opinion, maybe the pea green is a bad descriptor because they're saying that the pea was pea green. Like it's the same damn word. I hate the English language.
It's the same. It's a different word, but it's the same pronunciation of the word.
Yeah, but even reading it in your head, like it's
as soon as you read it, like I was like, pea green. Oh, right, pea as in the vegetable. Yeah, maybe like a lime green would have worked better.
Well,
because peas and lime have the same kind of like green texture to, or green.
Lime green is like 50-50 between yellow and green.
Oh right, yeah, no.
I'm thinking more like a diluted green or a soft green.
So like almost like a snot green.
Yeah, or snot green, yeah, because he's comparing it to snot too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's about it for my grammar in yellow.
All right. Well, on to our actual thought. So I'm just going to start with this this section here. So a week ago, it was my birthday. I just turned 18, and I decided I wanted to fuck around and look for ghosts. I would have hung out with friends, but I wasn't in the mood to be a third wheel. If only I just sucked it up and dealt with it. Instead, I shoved my phone and flashlight into my hoodie pockets and snuck out my back door. And so I read this part and I was like, I don't know why, but this feels like a really sad and lonely way to spend your birthday. Like, unless you were just really into like ghosts and being alone, or really introverted and stuff, I guess maybe this is like kind of an ideal way to spend your birthday. But I don't know, like it just seems like a sad move. And also like just not really smart to go wandering off at night. Even if you're like looking for ghosts, like you're going down a forest, like a nature trail to a cemetery alone at night. It just seems like a bad move on my like I wouldn't do that. Like, but maybe that's just my own bias.
Well, there's nothing that says he takes the trail until he gets to the cemetery.
True. Yeah. I don't know. It was something that like I read this like that's so sad.
Also, like if he meant third wheel as in like exactly that amount, he only has 2 other friends and they're dating.
Yeah, exactly. Or actually, not even like dating, because like sometimes like I guess I've also had like kind of like situations when I was younger where like my cousin and like our mutual friend near our cottage, like I sometimes wouldn't like go hang out with them because I felt like I was being the third wheel. So I can kind of get that, I guess, but I always felt sad about that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where it's coming from. Again, like it's just a personal bias that like kind of kicked in from reading this part.
Because it's painting him as a tragic character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's so edgy. On to my next one. Well, my uncle owns the plot of land the cemetery is built on, and being the cheap bastard he is, most bodies buried there end up thrown in there by itself. Okay, yeah, so I can see that now, Mikey, with the themselves. Yeah. However, my note here for the actual thought is like, wow, that seems incredibly illegal. Like, I guess they fake out the mourning families when they go to put the coffin in the earth, and then when everyone like leaves, they pull it back up and like and pull the body out of the coffin and just dump it in before burying it.
They just reuse the coffin for the next time.
Yeah, it just seems like a super sketch like setup there, but yeah, like you could have a whole horror story about that, and just have like the ghosts of the dead just like wreaking revenge on his uncle, just from that little scenario. That's just kind of like thrown into the story willy nilly to give a little bit of backstory about the cemetery, for reasons really. There's no real connection between the cemetery's like ownership and whatnot, other than it's a family member that owns it. So that's why he's going there.
Yeah, but I would still prefer having this backstory than just saying, like, it's my birthday, I'm lonely, I'm just going to go to this random cemetery. It's a normal cemetery, you know?
Yeah, I guess. And he does give a full. I guess it does give a reason, because like the ghosts are, like the ghost might he's reasoning that the ghost might be more pissed here because he knows how shady and like shady his uncle is. Or like dealing with the bodies and stuff. Yeah. And my next one, I whipped out my flashlight to light up whoever's down there, only to stop dead in my tracks. Whatever the fuck this thing was, it had no arms and no clothes on. Basically, I noped the fuck out of there, ran the whole way home, and locked every door in my house. It's always refreshing to see a logical response to a creepy situation. Just noping out.
Yep.
Like, yeah, we've had it a couple of times. Like, I think we've had it like once or twice where they've actually referenced, like, I just noped out of there. And it's always refreshing when it does, because, like, yeah, that's my response.
Yeah, it's a smart thing to do.
And that's actually kind of the thing. Like, this character is, for the most part, like a pretty smart, or at least genre savvy character. Like, they don't go, like, when they go to protect their dog, later on, like, they grab a knife and basically run the monster off. They see the monster in their driveway. They try to run it down. Like, they're using the tools at hand for the situation. And then going to this one here. So this is so when he's not here. I'll just do the quote here. I wouldn't blame her, but I wish she would have believed me, or at least humored me, so I could carry around one of the Rambo knives she collects. I'm sorry, she collects?
Yeah, she's fucking badass.
That is I literally have that in my notes. That is a badass mom.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, like I would have expected like the 18-year-old to be collecting Rambo knives, because that's something that teens do, is collect like random implements, like sharp implements and such. But the fact that the mom does, damn. And then we get to the elephant in the room quote. So, or at least the one that I like, kind of like, I literally, so when I read this quote, I actually like almost spit taked. So he was completely hairless and gray all over, with eyes chinked out more than Kim Jong II. Wow, that is racist. There is a better way to give that description.
He's in character. The character is racist.
There is a better descriptor for that. I definitely was like, wow. Like, yeah, anyway. It just, wow. On to the next one here. He broke my gaze, and I shit you not, began peeing on my dog. His pee was not yellow, but disgusting pea green that coated my dog's fur and was viscous like snot. And here we see the weird pee attack from the Know Your Meme article of Bob. So I guess that's where this came from. Or where that part of the descriptor came from. Also, I'm not going to lie, I thought the pee was going to be more corrosive than it actually like kind of turns out to be.
Yeah, it's just sort of like a mild inconvenience.
Yeah, well, and I think they do. He does try to like say that like his dog got the pneumonia because of the pee, like as a result.
Yeah.
And as soon as the dog was introduced, I was like really afraid that like we were gonna like see a dog death in the story, and I was
Especially when it gets peed on.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh god, here comes the dog's gonna be like melted in half or something, and then no, like, and even when he went to the vet, like he didn't die. Like, I was relieved and pleasantly surprised that that we didn't have a dog death in this story for like just for the sake of a dog death in horror.
Yeah.
It's like one of the few things that like it doesn't trigger me, but it definitely makes me a little bit more uncomfortable than normal. Like it is definitely one of my things with horror stuff. It's like I don't like it. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. And my last kind of actual thought here is actually right at the end as he's like asking, and at the beginning and then at the end, like he's bringing this story up, and then he's at the end he's asking, does anyone have any experience with a creature like this? I can't stay awake forever. And I'm sort of reminded of like the Reddit no sleep style of story where like it's set up in game or like in fiction, and it kind of makes sense because like the X thread, like on 4chan and stuff like that was kind of like the trendsetter or like kind of trope generator for a lot of the kind of creepy sighting story, like in fiction, like stories that we read and see a lot in like Reddit no sleep and other creepypastas. Like it's one of those progenitor. It's the progenitor source for a lot of those kind of like motifs. And again, they themselves got it from like other things, but like yeah, that's kind of where it all stemmed from. So it makes sense that this story would have that kind of setup. I'm still left kind of wondering what the creature is fully, like or like as to like its origins and stuff like that. As again, we still get no like mention as to the creature's name designation of Bob in a story. It's just it's got at this point it's just got to be like a descriptor that people give it after like after the fact.
Yeah. Like who coined it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm left at this before my final thoughts. It's just like it. I wish we had known we got a little bit more like I guess like an investigative story onto like
from an 18-year-old.
I mean, yeah,
I
maybe
guess it could have been like a Hardy Boy.
Honestly, that is actually how like Slender vlogs tend to go. Like Slender vlog, it kind of like felt like the start of a Slender vlog or like a creepy vlog on YouTube. But whereas this story stops, those ones would have kept going with like investigating into like what the creature was and such.
Yeah,
but
it could have been him with a friend going out there the cemetery, and then they like talk back and forth like, what was that? I don't know, we should find out. No, I want to know about, you know, like
yeah,
you could do more with it considering compared to just him by himself too.
Yeah, I wonder what the I unfortunately like I don't think we can go back and find like the X thread version, like the full X thread account of it, or like the chain of like comments and stuff that came out after the story, because I'm curious to see like what like some of the comments were to the story. And if any of them were actually like in fiction, like somebody's trying to stay in fiction, like this is kind of like the ARG angle where like the audience becomes part of the narrative in giving suggestions and stuff like that. I do feel like Bob would definitely be a good subject, kind of like the Slender Man, for an ARG or for like a Marble Hornets-esque blog or vlog series where like somebody, or like the Seed Eater experience, where like one person like pulls this creature, like has like encountered this creature and decides to like start trying to like crowdsource information on it, and then like we get like a blog series of it, of like different accounts and different stories and like theories as to what this creature is.
And that is awesome.
Yeah,
but comparatively, like Slender Man, the Seed Eater, like they have proper names that sound like they're a scary creature, not Bob. That's my real problem.
Yeah. Well, again, like if like the Bob again is like the acronym, right? So like if we cut the brutal obscene beast hunt or something like that is like the blog entry, or the brutally obscene beast blog.
Oh,
Bob.
Bob. My South Park reference.
Just and there was my shitty '90s Super Mario Brothers reference.
That was from the Super Mario Brothers movie. How dare you?
Yeah, that was Dennis Hopper's Koopa, just like. Oh God. Anyway, that's my actual thoughts on the another perspective on Bob. So Mikey, the stands for evil.
Alright. So, other perspective on this story is that the dog is the real monster.
What?
We already talked about this.
Well,
Let's continue.
I was scared shitless, and I sped to the vet, who referred me to the hospital, who had her stay overnight. So we have Piggy, who is sent to a hospital for humans. And that struck me as a bit odd. And then later, about 1,100 in vet bills later, Piggy drove home. With me.
Oh my God. Does it actually say that? Piggy drove home?
Yep.
He drove home. Yup.
So we have a were-dog?
Yeah. Or it's just the dog's just the normal size. It's like the dog from
Oh, so it's an intelligent dog?
it's like the dog from Men in Black.
Oh God, yeah. So it's a
It's the same
sapient.
type of dog too, actually. I think.
No, I mean that one was a pug, and I think the image shows a bulldog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but still, like similar. Like it's like a larger version of a pug, basically. But yeah, it's basically a sapient or uplifted bulldog.
Yep.
God.
And that's just normal. So I'm assuming they set up the car so that Piggy can drive it.
God, I just.
My thought process is that, well, obviously, Bob is the good guy.
Oh, of course.
Right, we made Bob a befuddled, like, good character in the first one. I had forgotten. It's been a week, guys. I forgot about that one.
Oh, you forgot something? It was only a week ago.
I know.
Remember what we talked about before recording?
Before recording, where like I have a compendium for like useless knowledge on like our campaigns and other things. Yeah, no, I know. I completely gapped on that one. Yep.
All right. So Bob is near the cemetery when we first meet him because he's on ghost watch duty.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And Nair shows up, and that's when Bob lets out a double sigh. He's like, "Ah."
That's why he's wheezing. It's like
do something.
Give me one of those nights.
God fucking God. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Nair nopes the fuck out, but unbeknownst to him, there's a ghost following him now, and the ghost ends up possessing his dog Piggy.
Are you gonna turn Bob's Wang into a fucking proton pack, or the slime machine, the slime pack from the second movie? Is that what I'm getting here?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So Bob ends up finding the dog in the yard and is happy that he's found the ghost, which is why he had a toothy, shitting, eating grin on his face.
He did.
So and then basically, that's where Bob pees on the dog to try to exorcise the ghost. But then Nar brandishes the kitchen knife, and
He's like, oh,
Bob.
fuck.
Yeah, Bob leaves before he can finish. Nar obviously washes off the goo, which was doing its job, but then taken out and taken off, so it doesn't work. And then basically, the ghost possession is morphing Piggy into a hybrid dog-human, and it's also changing people's memories to think it's been like this all along.
Hence why
they
he's not
don't-
reacting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mikey. I hate it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It actually does.
I'm just like thinking it's like the ghost is basically doing like this. So there's like a yokai or like a yome in Japanese ghost stories where that appears as a dog, but with a human face.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The only picture we have is of the dog's head.
Yeah.
Could be a full body under that.
A full human body.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's an animus from Pathfinder.
Really.
Oh God. Why?
And then later,
Mm-hmm.
when Bob goes in the driveway, he sees Piggy in the car, and his eyes widen because he realizes what's happened. So then that's when he jumps and then runs away because he nopes the fuck out of there.
Oh shit! I fucked up.
Fully taking the dog. There's nothing I can do. I don't have enough pee for this.
Gotta get back to my superiors.
Superiors. Never mind. Please continue.
Yes, please. Every moment we stray farther away from the light of gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just basically the last quote I have here was, I floored my car right at him and saw his eyes widen into a full fucking circle. Next thing I knew, he jumped up on my car, then off again, and full out sprinted off into the fucking wood. So, yeah, he definitely noped down to there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the next story, he comes back with a after drinking like all of the Mountain Dew and all of the water.
Yeah, all of the sanctified Mountain Dew that the Supernatural Task Force has in their arsenal. Because apparently Mountain Dew is so you guys realize I am going to eventually run an SNTF game, and one of you guys has to play Bob.
I'm sure that'll be fine.
And I'm going to make it this is going to be the most like horror comedy bullshit I've ever done. Because like we're gonna have like holy water is so passe. The SNTF has holy Mountain Dew.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Or they have to go. One of the missions is going to be you guys have to go hunt down the most holiest of creatures, wyverns, so that you can acquire wyvern piss or Mountain Dew.
Same thing.
Yeah,
it's not even filtered or
that
nothing.
is like wow. That is like 10 steps removed. Like the only people that will ever get that in joke is me and Mikey's old D&D group.
Really?
Where so I guess I'll give some context, or should I give some context to this, Mikey?
Wait, what if Bob is a humanoid wyvern that's had its wings cut off?
My God, he's a dragonborn, but it's like so it's like how like kobolds in D&D are supposed to be like they believe themselves to be like a couple of basically like a subspecies or an offshoot of dragons. It's like basically the same kind of thing, but for like a wyvern, for like a dragonborn or like a kobold kind of like heritage scenario for Bob. Like he's not even like he's not even like a subset of a dragon. He's a subset of a wyvern, which is in itself a subset of a dragon.
Yeah, it's so many subsets removed that it comes out as Bob.
Yeah. That's why he looks so horrifying. Yeah, so like they wanted in order to maybe the SNTF rescued him from some like lab that like had like cut off his wings so he couldn't fly away.
Yeah, that's why he has no arms, because they were wings.
Yeah, because wyverns are actually like they're the kind of dragonoid looking creature that doesn't have like 6 limbs. They have 4 limbs, but the front limbs are wings. At least in some iterations of wyverns.
Mikey, I have a question. How, Mikey? How do you make things just so much better and more interesting?
I mean,
with a huge backstory.
I would contest that today he has made it better and worse.
Yes, but gloriously better worse.
Yeah, we've reached room levels of like Tommy Wiseau levels of good bad.
Yes,
or bad good. But yeah, and then again, quickly to just get back to the context of wyvern piss. Our old D&D group would call Mountain Dew wyvern piss.
Okay.
That's it. That's the in joke.
Oh, there's gonna be some story.
No, not at all. It was just one of our players started calling Mountain Dew wyvern piss because it was okay. It gave us the caffeine and sugar rush, but it wasn't great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so wow. You guys realize I'm gonna have to run a D&D, like a Dungeon World game or a Monster of the Week game where you guys are fighting, or you guys have to like go and get like wyvern piss, like holy wyvern piss, or like, and somebody's gonna have to play as Bob.
Yeah, Bob's pretty great.
Yeah. Damn you, sirs. And damn you, Mikey. Damn you straight to hell. You glorious bastard. All right. We've I think we've circle jerked enough about bullshit that is not really connected to the story that well. So continue, Mikey.
It is in our insane minds.
Yes.
That's all I have to say.
Oh, okay, cool. Onward to gamer.
Great. I get to follow that.
Yeah, good luck. Sorry, what's the hang on, for video game thing? It's with the robot from Star Fox. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. So I don't have much to say.
So you had a bad day.
It's fine. All right, so I was reading this. First thing I took note of is now I wasn't just walking around in the forest herpaderping, and I just had to leave a note there. That is one of my favorite verbs. Well done. I'm glad it's in a story.
Yep.
I often partake in herpaderping myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets to the spot about the burials and all that. Says it's also a spot that practices green burials where they put the body in a biodegradable casket and send it onto it in the dirt. But then later on it says the cheap bastard he is, most bodies buried there end up thrown in there themselves. So they don't use the casket, but they're supposed to use the casket?
Which is funny because from what I understand, I'm not 100%, but like those biodegradable caskets should be like, they're basically like cardboard or some kind of like wood card kind of like material. So it's like it's on the cheap.
Yeah, but he's so cheap he doesn't
even use that.
Yeah. Just mix of it was
he
very
recycles.
He reuses. He doesn't recycle. That's what it is.
But it's just weird that it brings up the whole biodegradable casket thing.
And then
no real reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't use them.
Yep.
The way that he's doing shit, he could buy a fucking awesome casket, just play it up, and then fake put it in, and then do all the shenanigans he does. But he's so cheap, he gets a biodegradable cardboard box to throw them in. It doesn't even use that.
Yeah. It's really odd.
What a scumbag.
Mm-hmm. I think that might be honestly the scenario I run is just you guys, like you, Bob, going to this this having to deal with the cemetery that's just like loaded up with like pissed off ghosts, and like basically trying to either defend it or like defend the people around it or like try and figure out why these ghosts are so pissed off. But yeah,
is that right?
So...
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
The thing I wrote down is just basically the pee didn't do anything. It's just green and viscous.
Yeah.
Even though, so what did it say about the pee's effects in the original source material?
Give me a second.
Like it's corrosive?
Well, okay, it's not. I don't know if it's even corrosive. I think I'll look the Bob Know Your meme. Hang on.
Well, it smells like sulfur.
Yeah, so like it's maybe like it's just supposed to like. God, I found Bob as in like a fictional character from Animal Crossing. Obscene beast. Try that, Bob. In his description, along with the ability to urinate a substance that is pea green with a sulfuric scent. That's actually it. That's all it says. I thought I think what it is because like right after that there's a sentence that's like he can also eat his victims. So I was like I might have like maybe construed that was like it eats away at the victims, but like no, that was so yeah. It's just it's just a weird smelling pea that does nothing but possibly causes pneumonia in dogs.
The viscous nature of it was added for this story, not from the source material.
Yeah,
it's just green pea.
Yeah.
Okay.
That honestly,
I guess
the corrosiveness might have been an insinuation on our part because
it's green.
Because it's some weird other viscous liquid. So like what? And it's sulfuric scent. So what else is it gonna do?
Like sulfuric acid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The last thing I can talk about though is I've kind of touched on it. His name, because your Google search there hammered it home. So what I was trying to get at. The problem with his name being Bab, like it's funny and it's awesome for him being a buddy horror character or something.
A Bobby horror.
It's me. But but like because it's something so generic. I hate to use that word. It sounds insulting. But because it's so generic of a name, it's hard to find material on it. Because if you search for the Slender Man, type that in, you will get it. If you type in Bob, you will not get it.
Oh, well, because again, like I think it's something we need to like. I think the problem is like people I think too many people rely on the Bob acronym and not the actual like what it means, which is brutal, obscene beast. Let me just see if I can find any more on. I'm literally googling right now. Brutal, obscene beast creepypasta. So I got the two that we've read thus far. I'm sorry, what? There is hang on a second. Okay, no, somebody posted a something on Pinterest like brutal obscene beast / Bob in 2020, and I was like, I'm sorry, but no, it's just basically referencing the original story that we read last week, and then this story. So
cool.
Yeah, I would like to see more stories of the brutal obscene beast, because I want to know more about it. Look, he's kind of like an interesting creature. Just in terms of what is this thing kind of idea for it.
Yeah, through the stories themselves and what they say, we know nothing about it.
Yeah.
It has green piss. It eats people. It uses it's really good at kicking with like clawed toes almost, even though it's just long nails.
Yeah.
And he stalks people and runs away.
Like it's kind of almost like a Slenderman scenario, because Slenderman in and himself, like we don't know its origins, we don't know its true nature, like what, because it is sort of like a Lovecraftian or cosmic horror entity, in that like it is basically the fear of the unknown that it's trying to like incite. But there's enough material out there that people have done for Slenderman that we get a lot of information about him, about other things about him, not that kind of make up for the fact that his origins are kind of like shrouded in mystery. Whereas Bob only seems to have, like, at least that like doing a cursory look for, like, only has these two stories. So it's almost like he hasn't been fleshed out enough, despite the fact that he is kind of a meme online. Like he's a creepypasta meme. Like he's basically what would Slenderman be if Slenderman only had like two photographs, like two weird photos sightings of him, and like one story.
Yeah.
And there was no like fandom to him. Like there was no Marble Hornet series. There was no Slender vlogs as a result of that. There was no, like, basically, like Bob is basically the Slender Man without the fame, or without the mainstream notice, or without the expanded universe, basically.
He's a B movie Slenderman.
Yes, he's a Bob rated Slenderman.
Yep.
Sorry, I just had to throw in that Bob one more time.
It's fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much everything I got to talk about. He didn't kick anyone in this one. He didn't kill anyone, actually, either.
No, he's still like he pissed on a dog.
That was his entire thing.
And then ran away. Mind you, if you took this story and I would almost say, like, if we had this story as a prequel to the last story, we'd it might give us a little bit more context as to, like, because that story started in media res, like that, and we knew that, that Bob had been stalking that character for weeks prior. So that Andrew could easily have been our Nair in this story, but this story seemed to have come second after that one. So maybe that is the case.
Out of order, it might be better.
Yeah, maybe that even was the case. Maybe like the first story was written first, and then if Anthony Rose is the person who wrote this one and posted it, like they decided to write a like kind of like what happened before Bob fully like killed Andrew.
Yeah.
Like this, I feel like this could actually have been a good like first story, like kind of first setup for meeting Bob, and then the next story is just a continuation of that. Or hell, combine the two stories together, like have this be like an account, and then as he's like logging off his computer, we cut to a like kind of a third person perspective of this character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like that. That it seems like a good idea anyway.
I wonder what it'd be like going into this cold turkey, reading them in reverse order.
I mean, if you want,
I can't do that now.
Conduct an experiment with that. I could get one of our other like guest hosts to read this story and then that story, and let them know and tell them that these are like kind of these are like sequels to each other, kind of thing, and see what their rapport is. So we could get back to that at some point.
I should do that. Glory Bob.
I mean, hell, if you, the audience, wants us to do that, I mean, we're probably gonna do it anyway. But if you have any interest in hearing like what that kind of perspective would be like, please let us know in the comment section below, or email us.
We're not there to you.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. Do you have
The
any
only
more?
other thing I can think about is just because, like, through our talks, I've thought of like a couple of potential other names for him that are less silly. I don't know if you guys have thought of any.
Not really. He's just Bob in my heart.
Yeah, I know he will be forever. But if I was going to take him as a serious creepypasta monster, he is serious in his own way, but you know what I mean, because he's called Bob.
Yeah, I'm reminded of when we like our 6th episode of Al Dente Rigor Mortis thousands of years ago. When we did the 6-legged rape centaur.
Yep.
And me and Dr. Leviathan tried to come up with some better names for that creature, because seriously, 6-legged rape centaur.
Yeah, that's a name.
Yeah,
for sure.
That doesn't really work in the context of the story that was proposed in that story. Anyway, yeah. So I'd like to hear your ideas for like some alternatives to Bob.
Well, in the last recording, I mentioned that the original sighting, someone might think it's an escaped insane asylum person running around in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
So he could just be called Straitjacket.
Ooh, yeah.
Or maybe that's what they think he is at first, but when they finally see him, it's like, oh, he has no arms, so the armless, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's his
so
entire
like, kind
thing.
of playing
he
off
has
the
no
expressionless.
Yeah, kind of, actually.
The armless. Yeah.
That's about all I've thought of in the past couple of minutes. That's about it.
Oh, you didn't have like a list that you came up with prior to this?
I didn't. That's just stuff I came up with off the top of my head in the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, like I could see like the urinator. No.
Nope.
Honestly, like yeah, like kind of just like yeah, I can't like at the top of my head, like I'd have to like maybe put some if I do that if I have like Adam from RPX or Tara or somebody read these stories and like get their perspective on like it as if it was like just one long story. I might try and like have some stuff for that to come up with it. But yeah, at present, like yeah, like again, like it's the brutal obscene beast, or Bob.
Or Bob, that's the problem.
Yeah, so I can't get that out of my head. So
yeah, that's my point.
And like your suggestions are also kind of good, like Straitjacket, if for the initial sightings, but then like also the armless makes sense as a creature name. Or the yeah, like I just can't remember. I can't come up with anything like right off the top of my head right now for that. So, other than Stubbs, but that seems kind of also seems kind of.
I was going to bring up Mr. Stubbs actually, but
yeah, Mr. Stubbs.
Again, that's
Mr. Stubbs, Mr. Golden Stubbs.
It's a little silly. You might as well just keep Bob at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, and maybe Bob is terrifying to somebody. I mean, like there's
it's like
hang on. There's like in there is the ghost story of the Crooked Man. And it's like there was a crooked man who had a crooked house, and like it sounds silly and stuff like that, but when in context to like when they use the Crooked Man in like the movie The Conjuring 2, it is really fucking creepy.
But it's also like, I'm not gonna say a lot of creepy stories we've read, but some of them, the creature itself sounds silly. Like 100% silly, but if it was there in real life, it would be terrifying because it's not normal.
Yeah, it's basically again like it boils down to that whole thing where like horror and comedy are two sides of the same coin. It's or another version of that is horror and comedy are just are the only difference between horror or tragedy and humor is distance. Like if you're right up to a scene of something that like horrifying or terrible, it's tragic. But the farther away from it you are, sometimes the funnier it is, or the more humorous it is.
Good point.
Yeah. So is that it there, gamer?
Yes.
Okay. You're coming in very quiet.
Yes, that is the end of it. I will say more words instead of one word.
Thank you, because Craig apparently is having trouble with our audio.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to final thoughts then. Finally. It's not a terrible setup or a story, though. As with the previous one, I would definitely want more. Both like refinement of the story and perhaps a continuation. But like as we just kind of brought up, like I feel like this story would be great as a prequel to the previous story. Like to kind of be both, or either as a secondary story, or even as like if you combine this story and put this like slap this story to the front of the first story that we did last week. So that's about that. I can partially recommend it for that kind of thing. I'm still left wondering about this creature, its origins, and what it does next. Or what it does. Like, why? Like, is basically my big question for it. I'm probably going to look around online to see if there's any other stories that some other people have done as a result of like this creature, like as these stories. Like, because I'm sure other people on the internet have like read these stories and will have been inspired to write more stories on him. So, and I kind of want to use him in like like we were talking about earlier with like the gaming stuff. Like I could see him being good for like a gaming fodder again, like as a bumbling agent for the SNTF.
Again, that's all stuff that's based off of our own like dumb headcanon of the SNTF.
That is also inspired by these stories. Like,
yes.
So it is like it's a transformative like kind of technique. Like we pulled inspiration from the story we have read, and we want to use it. We want to expand on that idea in another narrative. So
if the creature wasn't interesting enough in the first place, we wouldn't have been able to think of all the weird places we could take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely not a case of like, oh, this creature is kind of boring and like the story's not that very good. It's more of like kind of almost like there you can see the potential in this story. I just wish it had gone a little bit farther. And so that's basically kind of like why I'd partially recommend this story. I also give it points for not killing a dog, but I do dock it points for the racism in the description of the creature.
It's in character because it's a stupid kid.
Yeah, but I'm still docking it points.
I mean, okay.
That is a personal opinion, but yeah. That's just how I do.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so partial recommendation. Mikey, D stands for evil.
Yeah, so I also didn't really care for our snarky teenage attitude that sort of gets portrayed in this, but I guess it is technically part of the narrative.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of grammar-related issues and stuff that could just be fine-tuned to make it more readable. So I'm going to give this one a partial recommendation, but thinking about it from the supernatural task force side of things and the dog being the monster, it's 100% recommendation from me when you think that way.
Of course. It is quite up there on the tiers of excellence.
It's nearing a Who Was Phone situation at that point.
Almost, yes.
Yeah.
And Gamer?
For me, I'm trying to compare it to the previous one. I kind of like this one better, I think. A long time ago.
It was a week ago, bud.
I know.
It was a week ago, Bob.
Yeah.
Bub. Anyway, sorry, yeah.
As I said, I enjoyed reading it. I'm also glad there's no dog death. The snarky teenager attitude really didn't bother me, and the little bit of typos and weirdness in the writing also didn't bother me. They were there, so I took note of anything that needed to be changed. Mm-hmm. And I agreed with both of your grammar-related discrepancies. That those are all things that should be changed grammatically. However, this is written in the guise of a 18-year-old kid who doesn't know any better, and he's a jerk and apparently a racist.
Might just be an 18-year-old. The writer himself might have just been an 18-year-old.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Regardless, I saw it as written in character. So even though those things needed to be changed, quote unquote, they didn't, because they're written in character, and that's the way the character talks.
Yeah. Or how the character writes online.
Yeah, in real life, he might be like super polite because he's like doesn't want to be. It's like the internet anonymity.
Animosity.
No,
No, animosity
it,
is a different word. Sorry.
no,
Yeah,
it's
anonymity. Yeah, that word.
yeah, that one right there. It's when you're online. It's quote unquote okay for you to be an asshole because you have the internet between you and who you're insulting.
Yeah, sorry, it's anonymity. That's what it is.
That's what I said. Anonymity.
Yeah. Also, and again, like to your point, like also this was written on the X thread of 4chan first. Like that's where it got copied from, and a lot of those are basically like it's not even like a creepypasta wiki where you like have like you're basically just like you're typing up a very lengthy forum like kind of like basically like a chat dialogue basically. So like this was all on like maybe one or two like chat things that he posted, complete with like images and stuff like that. So it does kind of capture
bill too, like the second one. The second one's an image of the bill. I forgot to actually look into it.
Yeah, it does show the bill. So it's basically like it does kind of capture the immersion of like reading this off of like a chat board, like an old chat board from like the early 2000s or like the mid 2000s. I haven't gone on X thread in a long while, so I don't know if that's still the situation, but I imagine it is because again, like it gives into like there's a lot of errors in like the grammar, or there's even a lot of typos sometimes, depending on the person who's typing up their story or their account.
Mm-hmm. The way that this is portrayed through the immersion and the ARG-ness of it all, I enjoyed that a lot more than the first one, which is just here's the story, and it feels like it's very final and that's it, especially because he dies.
Yeah.
So comparatively between the two, I prefer this one more, so I'll recommend this one.
Okay.
Don't remember what I said to the previous one, but I'll recommend this one at least.
I think we partially recommended the last one, but I can't remember. It was a week ago, guys. Cut us some slack. All right. So a half recommendation, I don't. Mikey, were you
partially recommended it?
Partially recommendation, but a full recommendation if it's our silly headcanon version.
Of course, as always.
And a recommendation.
Yep. I just wish he had a different name. That's all.
Yep. I just wish the name was like somehow like put into the story.
Yeah, it's not there at all.
Yeah, in either of them.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Like again, it's more of a descriptor for the creature. It's just brutal. It's like al dente rigor mortis, and how I sometimes call it ADR. It's
no question.
Yeah.
The early Slenderman stuff. Do they ever refer to him as Slenderman?
No, I think they tend to call him it's. No, I honestly don't think they actually ever call him the Slenderman. I know it's in the early like Slender vlogs, they had different names for him. Like in Marble Hornets, they actually called him the Operator.
Yeah.
Or that was a version of him. I know in like other ones, like in where they introduce like a cult, like the cult calls him by different names, like Grober Lothotep or something like that, because they believe because it was more of like a weird like kind of Egyptian cult. And then there's the Groberman, the Nightman or the Tall Man in Germany. So and then like there's other names like Big, Tall, and Slender, or like Mr. Spider, because of all the or Mr. Tentacle, because of all the tentacles that he has and stuff. So yeah, they tend not to reference his actual name or like the name that like is commonly known to him.
In lore, in lore, that's not what people refer to him as. They refer to him as whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. I know like some people like look
generally
online.
Known as Slenderman.
Yeah, I know that in some stories when they're investigating online, they reference like, oh yeah, there's this like people are calling him the Slender Man. But like the investigators never actually refer to him like that, or like don't do it very often. So
it might just be the same sort of deal.
Yeah,
or they're purposely not calling him anything because it's worked in the past. Don't broke what ain't fixed. Bleh. Don't fix what ain't broke. That's the word.
There we go. Don't fix what ain't broke. Don't break what's not fixed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like it kind of, it does feel like Bob is kind of like just basically a Slender Man-esque entity that just didn't get his big break like Slender Man did.
Yeah.
Which also kind of like gives me a little bit of a it gives him a little bit of a tragicness because the creature is interesting. Like he's not a boring monster.
Honestly, his visual, thinking about it as a flesh and blood creature, is way more terrifying than Slenderman.
Yeah.
Considerably.
Especially if like because a lot actually some of the people that have described him is like it's like the Rake but armless, and I can see that because like the Rake is kind of creepy on himself. Like it's basically like a ghoul monster, like a grayish humanoid figure with claws on his arms. But then in this one they removed the arms, and so it's just again just another. It plays on the fear of like there's something wrong with this person.
Yeah.
And like so it kind of plays on that kind of like almost uncanny kind of valley thing because like he's humanoid but he's missing parts that would make him human, and so that's what's creepy about him. And again, if this thing was running at you or wheezing and like in the middle of a trail in the woods that I came across, I'd have the same reaction that our narrator here has, where I'd just be like, nope, run away.
It's a combination of a lot of things. Like, yeah, the no arm thing, it's part of it. But like, there's amputees in real life. That doesn't mean that they're
no, and I'm not.
Individuals.
I don't.
It's because
I'm
it's
not
a
trying to get that
combination of a bunch of things.
Yeah.
There's no arms. He's naked. His mouth. I forget how his mouth is described.
His mouth is like basically like it's full of like rotted, gaping teeth. Like there's there are like you said, there are multiple facets to that kind of just keep stacking on to one another. Like things that make people uncomfortable, basically.
I think the non-racist description of his eyes were like they're beady eyes, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're beady. They're small. They're too small for his head or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
like
another one of those really weird things that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of like the creature itself. Its description is just a bunch of sort of uncomfortable descriptors for for some kind of humanoid entity that are just stacked onto each other. And again, like if you saw this guy in the middle of the woods naked at night, you're gonna run.
Yeah. Because all the things about him, visually and his power set, quote unquote, is all realistic and stuff that makes sense. He's sort of more terrifying than Slenderman, because Slenderman summons tentacles out of nowhere and has like mind control
Slenderman is
powers.
more of a you're kind of going into like realistic horror versus cosmic horror, which is kind of what Slenderman is, and and Bob is more on the realistic horror because I could see Bob being an actual like unfortunate like human like person
A science experiment or something.
who's like escaped from some kind of mental asylum or some kind of hospital, and maybe he's not even like got like his full faculties and such like that, so like he's got a bit of a human like a human horror, human tragedy to him.
Oh yeah, this story is ripe for the picking for a buddy horror.
Oh yeah,
totally. But the other comparison I was going to make to Slenderman before you cut me off, but it's fine, is Slenderman has all the cosmic powers and stuff, but he's also this weird non-human entity that wears a suit for reasons. You know, like a human suit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. He's an eldritch horror that is trying to appear human as like a lure. Because that's the thing. Like the reason why like people like see him in photos or something like that, or why in the early Slenderman lore, he didn't appear inhuman to people. It was only in the video feed and in the photographs that he appeared inhuman.
Okay, but
outside he would just appear like a very tall man in black.
And that's you pick like a t-shirt and jeans, you know, something that you could wear anywhere and it's not weird.
I think also the thing with the suit kind of you're trying to make it funny with like like he's wearing jeans and a shirt and stuff like that.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to make it realistic. If he is some cosmic entity that's unbelievably smart, why wouldn't he pick an ensemble that blends in the most when he's trying to blend in?
Well,
he picked the most outrageous outfit, like the highest classy outfit to just wear in the forest. That's my point.
I got nothing for you, man. Outside than like Slenderman is supposed to be kind of like this unknown. We don't know what its motives are. Maybe it doesn't even realize, like it doesn't know what like how to blend in properly. So like it doesn't know us as much as we don't know it.
Yeah, I
Sort of like
guess.
thing. Like that's how cosmic horror kind of works. Is like it's trying, and the reason why it's its failure to achieve its goal of like luring people in is what causes the fear and like the horror from it, because there is something wrong about this person, or there's something wrong about this situation, because it doesn't understand us as much as we don't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We're completely off topic.
we've dived back into Slender. This isn't even like Slender Month is over. We didn't even have a Slender Month this year.
No.
We just kind of dived into it, but it tried to creep in with Bob.
It's just the whole talk about Bob and his look and everything made me think about the weirdness of Slenderman and the things that I don't really like about him.
Yeah,
in
fair.
comparativeness to Bob, which
That's fair.
I enjoy his entire look, and I understand and get why he's creepy every single aspect of him. While Slenderman, I don't.
I think the reason for that is because you.
Terminator.
No. I was
I know.
actually not going to do that.
I know.
You can understand Bob and his horror, and so you can familiarize to the horror. Whereas Slenderman, there's a little bit more of like, again, with cosmic horror in general, it's more about like a high concept and like and like a weird like Slenderman's supposed to break your brain. It's like Cthulhu. Yeah. Cthulhu is not supposed to be understood. Like that, there's a reason why there are sanity checks involved with Call of Cthulhu games dealing with like Cthulhu or Elder Gods and stuff like that. It's like they are not supposed to be contextualized fully to the human brain. Yeah. And sometimes that
Cthulhu
works.
Also doesn't wear a top hat.
Yes, but
that's what I'm saying.
That
I
is not
him more than Slenderman because he is him.
I'm just going to stop then, because we could go on for hours about how about the differences between cosmic horror and real horror.
Regardless, I tend to like real horror. Moving on.
That's fair. All right, so that was this week's episode. If you liked that lengthy banter, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, YouTube, Facebook, or Tumblr. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, other SCPs, other cryptids, Reddit no sleep stuff. Like if there's something that we have not touched on in our years of episodes, please let us know and we will try to get to it. And if you'd like to talk to us on Twitter, Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name's very long.
It is.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also help support us financially by going to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content, that kind of stuff. For our patrons that are helping support the show already, thank you guys immensely, because you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to the listeners and the creators and authors of these stories and creatures, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, we really wouldn't have much of a show. And without your entries and content and like spookiness online, we very much wouldn't have a show. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well. this go again?
Hey, we're playing Shadowrun again.
Oh yeah.
Shadowrun.
Yeah, I thought we were doing Al Dente. Fuck that. We're playing Shadowrun in the 2080s. You guys are fighting
Hell
Antran.
yeah.
Remember Antran, guys?
No.
That robot from the 2070s that you got. That's the whole start of the 2070s, 2080s plot line that we made up.
Yes. I remember now.
You remember?
I 100% remember.
It's a good thing I have a ridiculous memory for things I'm interested in, or for things for my personal hobby and podcast stuff. Because I feel like I'm the human compendium for our useless knowledge and memories.
I mean, you made this whole show because of how much you like all this shit, so
That's true,
understandable.
Yeah. I just mean also with when it comes to campaigns and stuff like that, because when we're playing D&D and other games and stuff, and I'm just all right, guys, do you guys remember what happened last time? It's no. It's guys, it was 2 weeks ago. It's I don't remember. Okay, well, this happened. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, okay, I remember now.
You also write down. You think of what's going to happen in the story, then see the story happen, or we just see the story happen. So you're getting the story told twice to you, technically.
And technically 3 times, because I also listen to the episode when I'm edited. If I edit an episode,
that's true.
So it's potentially 2 times, but potentially 3 times if you count if I get around to editing prior to a session.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I digress.
Also, I'm just forgetful.
Yeah, that's true.
Which doesn't help matters.
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm right here.
This isn't my beautiful house.